Alright, here's part 2 to the video. Now you got your pick, as you can see here, and what you want to do next is you want to fix this up to where it's not a huge bulky piece that does not fit in the lock. So what you're going to do now with this is you're going to take this part and you're going to begin cutting down the tip. Now, none of this has to be absolutely perfect. You can take and customize it any way you like. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Much quieter. Alright, now that you've got it down a little bit to a more reasonable shape, even though this is still huge, you're going to want to take off most of your tip. So, we'll go over here and we'll do that. And then thin it. Alright. Now that you've got it a little bit smaller, as you can see, it's still huge and would never fit into a lock. You're going to want to keep going until you get it right down to size. Alright, and finally, once you get it down to a decent size here, which it is now, much smaller than what it was before, then you're going to want to take and round that tip off to where it's not pokey. Because if it's going to scratch up in the lock and it won't pick, it'll just stick up in there. And that's not a good thing. Now, normally, I would sand this pick a lot, but since I'm just doing this for a video and kind of short on time, I'm not gonna sand it. But if you want a pick that will go in and out of a lock decently, I would sand this pick down quite a bit. Now, if your pick has a burr on it, the little edge of metal on it, I take a sander. It's just got a little tiny sanding wheel here. And I'm going to sand that right down. That's going to not be able to see it because this has a foot pedal. I just go right over both sides of the pick handle, of the pick. And now, if you can see that, I just went right along there with the sander, just a little bit, and now it's smooth. You can do that with these type of Dremel sanding wheels pretty easily, and then it should work. So, what most of you guys probably have is a master lock similar to this. and this is what I'll be picking in a minute. The next thing you want to make is a tension wrench. Now you can make these out of the same material or a wiper blade. Now these I will be making out of the wiper blade inserts just because it's faster and I don't have to worry that much. So step one you want to do is you want to find out when you take this and you put it in a lock how big your hand takes up. So if you were to take and just sit this right on top of the lock like so and put it over just about this much or yeah, about that much, put your thumb on it, put your finger that you will use to tension it as far out as you can possibly reach it. So even like if you want to, you can stretch your hand slightly, just enough to where that's about as far as you can reach it. That is the maximum size of your wrench. That is where you'll need to cut it. So that's about the size of your wrench. That's about my wrench, not yours. You'll be making your own wrench size. So I'm going to take and get my Dremel thing over here, and I'll take and whack that off for you. Right, now that that's good, now you've got this piece of metal, and if you're using the pick metal, trust me, it will just break off. So heat it up first with a little torch, just a little bit to where it's a nice cherry, and then bend it. With this metal, you can take and easily bend it over and it won't break. So I'm going to take this, and you just need maybe, I don't know, not very much, maybe about that much would do it. However much you stuck over the lock is about what you use. You can just use your hands or a pair of other pliers and just bend it over. And now you've got a tension wrench. Now this won't really fit in the lock right now, I've noticed. And I also, if you want to, the rigid is for more feedback, but if you don't like the rigid, which I absolutely hate the rigid ones, you can get a second pair of pliers, because this is a lot harder. Just give it a twist. Now the difference between twist flex and rigid is the twist flex is flat on your hand and the rigid is not. It's personal preference. So just because I did it doesn't mean you have to. Now you've got your tension wrench, and it will not, as you can see here, really fit inside the lock in the bottom. It's kind of it's not small enough. That little side part here is where you're going to stick it, and it won't fit. So what you're going to do is you're going to take over to your grinder here. You're going to turn it on just a little bit. Oh god. Yeah. As you can see, this was laying on the ground. I forgot because I'm making a video that it was. Alright, we'll turn this on. Turn it up. Bring it down just a little bit in size. And now, if we did this right, you should be able to fit it in the lock if I have it the right direction. Yes, now it fits in the lock, and you can turn the plug with it. Next video, we will show you how to pick this now.